Hi, welcome to Distinti's World video number 12. This is titled Monkeys with Typewriters. I was originally going to make this a support video of ethereal mechanics, but it has topics that are could be in Distinti. It's either way, so I went this way with it. This video serves two purposes. Explain how I'm protecting ethereal mechanics from plagiarists. I don't know if that's spelled right. And usually I'm given names of websites of others who make similar claims ethereal mechanically, usually with a tag, oh, you should check out this other person's work and you guys should work together. And I'll give advice on how to help me with that, with this regard. Most of the time I really don't care what other websites are talking about when they talk about ether and all this stuff, and I'll explain why. First, let me talk to you about a statistical thing that's usually taught when you take a probabilities course in college. There's a thing called the infinite monkey theorem, which basically, and this is how they teach probability, which basically states that given enough time, a chimp punching randomly on a typewriter will almost surely, no, not will almost surely, will surely type out all of Shakespeare's plays. Just by punching out random letters, eventually a string of those random letters, given enough time, will actually type out the complete works of Shakespeare. And so how is this relevant? Well, given that hundreds of millions of smart people are producing all kinds of stuff on the internet, it is statistically possible that someone has published ether theories that are similar to mine. But having an idea and talking about an idea is much different than reducing that idea to practice. Okay, these are two different things. And let's see how history remembers the great discoveries and inventions in history. Okay, Copernicus originated the idea that the Earth is not the center of the universe. So this would be the not Earth-centric model. I got the wrong term there. And Galileo developed the techniques necessary to make the measurements which validated the idea. He reduced it to practice, and he took all the heat for it. Who is remembered for proving that the Earth is not the center of the universe? Galileo. Heavier than air flight. Well, Leonardo da Vinci designed many flying machines. It's not known if any of them actually flew. And allegedly a guy by the name of Whitehead, a German immigrant to the state of Connecticut, flew years before the Wright Brothers. And you can go to Wiki Gustave Whitehead. But the point is, the Wright Brothers reduced it to practice. They developed the models and techniques that ushered in the age of flight and developed aeronautical engineering. In fact, their models of lifting bodies are so good that they've only been able to improve upon them by 2% in the modern age of computers. Okay, the key is that what the Wright Brothers did took off into an industry that created jobs and improved our lives. Okay, so therefore aeronautical engineering was born from the work of the Wright Brothers, not Da Vinci or Whitehead. So it's not important who dreams about doing something, it's who actually makes it work. In other words, who makes the dream a reality. They're the people that get the credit. And nobody remembers who discovered nitroglycerin, but Alfred Nobel made it useful. And that's what dynamite is. Dynamite is a stabilized form of nitroglycerin. And he changed the way we build roads and tunnels and we move mountains. Of course, we kill each other by the scores with it too. The triode vacuum tube, 1906. Lee DeForest invented what he called the Audion tube. Not much happened because he did not understand its full potential. He did not know why it worked. And Armstrong, a brilliant engineer, figured it out and developed a vastly improved version, which was then called the triode, and revolutionized radio communications. Okay, and you can go to Wiki on Audion and Wiki Empire of the Air, the Men Who Made Radio. It's an awesome Ken Burns documentary. And it basically shows that these two guys, the families of these two guys, long after they're dead, are still battling over who gets the credit for the invention of the triode tube. Electromagnetic mass, inertia. There are scores of people prior to me that theorized that induction would be the basis of inertia. Heaviside is one, Jeffermenko is another, Poincare, I believe, is a third, there's others. And there are thousands of websites claiming inertia is electromagnetic in origin. Fine. But who is the only one with the proper model of induction that can compute the mass of an electron to a higher degree of precision than can be measured presently? Me. Reduced it to practice. You can dream about it all you want. Reducing it to practice is the key. Faster-than-light starships. Science fiction writers have been writing about faster-than-light starships for generations. The person who makes it a reality is the inventor of faster, not the person who with the typewriter who spoke of it first. The key, the inventor is the monkey who reduced it to practice, not the monkey with the typewriter who first wrote of it. Does Gene Roddenberry get the credit for warp drive, or the person who actually makes it work? Okay, reduction to practice also requires more than just getting it to work. It also requires developing comprehensive models so that the full potential of the theory or invention can be realized. Okay, I am certain there are many other authors out there with pet theories that have claims that overlap mine. That is the infinite monkey theorem. And I'm not being derogatory, that's just the name of the theory. I'm the only one producing the mathematical models which back up the claims. The new induction model computes the inductance of inductor to a higher degree of precision than can be attained with Agilent LCR meters. You can see my graduate thesis. I'll put the link up there for that. And the new induction model, I already talked about that, to compute the inertia of an electron to a higher degree. It's reduction to practice is making the dreams real. Okay, so I will always give credit to those who had the concepts before me. As far as I know, the original ideas that I originated, the new induction model, the new magnetism model, the ether is a super dense binary medium, in the binary part too. Matter is actually ethereal in nature, which is opposite to all the other ether-matter relationships in the past. That matter is composed of inertialess charged particles, which I call pretons. The ether is the fuel which sustains the existence of matter. Matter consumes the ether. And the gravity and inertia are both electromagnetic induction. And also the new math construct, which is being released shortly. So being first one to write about something is not as important as the person that reduces it to practice. Because being able to produce real things that make people's lives better and can earn you a little income is verification that a theory has merit. Otherwise, it's just talk. I mean, how many times have you heard the guy, Newman, his free energy machine, claiming that he's being oppressed because no one's giving him the credit for his theory that his invention works? Who cares? If you truly invent a free energy machine, you get funding and you develop a company and you start producing these generators and selling them to people one at a time at first until people start talking, and then it'll take off on its own. You don't need professors and whatevers to agree that your stuff works to sell it. The Wright Brothers didn't need the majority of scientists to agree that they had the right models of flight before they could sell airplanes. Hell no. So these people that claim that they have right ideas are not being accepted by science. It's all gibberish. If you got something that works, produce it. You don't need the permission of scientists to do that. And for protecting ethereal mechanics, the new math construct is key. Because when ethereal mechanics get traction, mainstream scientists are all going to say, oh, well, yeah, ether, that's really the 0-point energy. We just didn't want to call it ether to confuse people. Or they're going to say that, oh, yeah, the dark matter that we've never been able to find, that's the ether. Sure, that's it. That we've known it all the time. We just didn't want to. And they're going to try to, and then they have to do that. Okay, because most of the mainstream scientists, they get their funding from government. And if government finds out all their money went down the toilet, a guy working in his basement on a shoestring budget can do what all the billions of dollars invested in all these expensive toys couldn't do, you're going to find that cutting from mainstream science is going to get cut to the bone, especially since governments are pretty much bankrupt now. So of course they're going to have to say all kinds of nasty things about me or whoever comes up with the right models. And the other internet authors out there are going to say, hey, wait a minute, why is this Distinti guy getting bit parts on the Big Bang Theory or the Simpsons or whatever, and they're going to start suing because they're going to say, well, I had the idea first, to try to get a piece of the action. Okay, so with the new math construct, none of this can be done. You need the new math construct to solve the problems going forward. This is new math. The lack of the new math construct was held me up for years until I realized we have a hole in mathematics. Okay, so the new math construct is going to make all these claims pretty much baseless, and that's why I'm carefully protecting it. And in ethereal mechanics, I'm working toward a Wright Brothers moment. That's what I call the Wright Brothers. When they show the photographs and the motion pictures of their airplane flying to their people, that was proof positive that their theories of flight work. So all the scientists can say, oh, their theories of flight could never possibly work. Now they're all going to be shut up because there's photographic evidence of they have a flying machine. And even the beautiful thing about this is the average guy knows why this is cool. The average guy does not have to be an engineer to appreciate flying like a bird. And I'm trying to find something like that with ethereal mechanics, you know, that would give that same thing. Okay, but going off on the other topic here, I'm open to alternative sciences. When people send me websites of these other people, I look at them, but then I just get blurry-eyed because it's usually just turns out to be a bunch of gibberish. And let me give you what I'm looking for in other websites. I'm open to it, but here's what I'm looking for. I want a demonstration of a physical phenomenon that's unique and with enough details that it can be repeated. There's one guy out there, I'm going to put the link up. He's got magnets. He's able to make magnets lift non-ferrous materials. It's a very interesting experiment. It's easy to reproduce. He doesn't give much details, but I can glean the details from the video, and I bought the equipment to reproduce those experiments, and I'm pretty sure I know how it's working. Okay, or theories that are presented with mathematical models which match the observations. It's better if they're able to reduce something to practice. Okay. And I don't want to see theories that abuse scientific terms, like things like scalar waves or vortexes used in the improper ways. A scalar wave, a scalar is a unitless field. There can be a scalar field, but not a scalar wave. If you have a scalar field, it may generate a wave, but once you model that, it becomes a vector. It's got to be a vector. If anything's in motion, it's going to be a vector, not a scalar. So this whole idea of a scalar wave is an oxymoron. I don't know where people get this gibberish. Okay, I mean, they probably have something real, and they just called it something that's wrong. I mean, if you've got something real, don't try to abominate scientific terms to explain it. If there is something real, either find somebody that can give you a more scientific description of what it is, or just say we have, describe it in generic terms. We have an effect that moves from point A to point B. It doesn't seem to have these properties, but it does seem to have this property. We want to call it this, but we're not sure if that's the property. You know, just don't start spewing the airwaves with scalar waves when those terms by themselves mean something to scientists and engineers. These are the things I don't care about. I don't care if people claim that what they're producing is the work of Tesla or space aliens or secrets of the ancients. That's of no value to me. That's just talk without substance. I want to see something observable, real, and reproducible that we can reproduce. And then you get other people out there that claim, oh, what we have is too complicated to be described with math. And there's like this, I forget the name of it. It's, I don't know, it's all done with triangles and geometry, and they say it's not reproducible with math. That's gibberish. Okay, claims of spiritual connections. I don't know if there is such a thing. It's never been measurable, but they have to have repeatable experiments if I'm going to accept anything that's got a claim of spiritual. Because that's, what is it? There's not even a definition, a hard definition of what spiritual means. Contradicting terms, like scalar waves is a contradicting term. There's other terms out there that are contradicting. And I don't want to see any claims. I mean, that claims that you're being suppressed does not prove your theory is right. Okay, there's a guy out there that has an interesting effect. His name, I believe, is Ivor Katz. And he has this thing he calls the cat effect. It's an interesting observation. He didn't originate it. It's one of these demonstrations in electrical engineering that's interesting. He just came up with an alternative explanation for it, which is clever, but I don't think it's the proper definition. But he's claiming that his theory is being suppressed and all this stuff, and that's complete nonsense. Things to avoid. You got websites out there with people producing prototype after prototype after prototype trying to get their thing to work. My friends, if they're beyond the third prototype and it still ain't working, then they're just wasting people's money. Because if you have good models, you know, your first prototype might just be there to prove the concept, but the second prototype should be close to an optimized version. The third prototype will actually be close to a production unit if you're doing everything right. So if you're beyond your third prototype and you don't have a measurable effect, then you're not working with a complete deck of models. Okay, I've described the reasoning behind the secrecy of the new math construct. It's my ace in the hole to protect from false claims of others. It's why I really don't care if others claim to have ether models and that their things predict longitudinal waves and all that other nonsense, because without the new math construct, that is not possible. You cannot. I've not been able to do it. I've massaged every equation that I could find. And once you get down to the vector equations, I was observing new electromagnetism. The only way I could get things to reconcile was to fix a hole in mathematics. And that hole has not been fixed. That hole is there. And Ethereal Mechanics video 49 are going to show you what the hole is. Okay. So, and I've also described what things I'm interested in terms of other websites. I only really want to see physical effects. I don't care if the publishers claim it's ether or vortex energy or unicorn guano. I'll be the judge of what it is. We all should be the judge of what it really is. That's really what science is. Okay, I will give credit for what parts I incorporate. If I find some interesting effect and I decide, oh, I can explain that with ethereal mechanics, or I have to adopt their explanation of it, I will give credit for whatever part of their stuff I have to use, because I'm giving my stuff away free. But if they come up with a part that fits that I don't already have, then I'll give them credit, just like I give credit for Coulomb's model. Okay. Thank you very much. Goodbye.